Good morning, great morning, wonderful morning, spectacular morning, outstanding morning, magnificent morning, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious morning. Again, the beautiful reminder that we get to choose. Yes, you get to choose the same way that I get to choose. And what is it that we get to choose? Well, we get to choose our thoughts. Remember, everything is fundamentally meaningless. There is nothing that is good or bad. It's our thinking that makes it so. And guess who gets to decide how you're going to think? Guess who gets to decide what things mean in your life? It's you. It's always you. It's always going to be you. And that right there is where the transformation begins. Really grab onto what I'm sharing with you. Say, like, you're locking into a goal. And by the way, you should have a goal card. Don't underestimate the power of writing down an idea. With that being said, if you write down the idea and if you make it mean something to you, in other words, you fall in love with the idea, guess what's going to happen? It's going to externalize. Remember, your thoughts are things. Your thoughts are energy. Your thoughts are the magnets that attract to you the very things that you think. Earl Nightingale shared frequently, we become what we think about most of the time. But actually, I'm going to dive into you and to share something much deeper than that because it's not deep enough. Because it's really not you become what you think about most of the time. It's that you become how you think most of the time. It's how you're thinking that matters most. And that right there, oh my gosh, magnificent, beautiful gem, because you've seen people who are delivering the outcomes that you would love to deliver, people who are successful at the level that you would love to be successful. And what is it that is shared with you that you've got to do to determine and deliver outcomes the way that they do? You're told to do what they do, aren't you? I mean, that's what they tell you to do. They tell you to do what they do, when really that's not what you've got to emulate. You see, it's not what the individual does that you've got to emulate, it's how they're thinking. It's how they're thinking. And how an individual thinks is rooted in what they believe to be true and the habits that they have. You change that, you change your life. And that rocks when you engage with it. And see, that's the key component is, okay, will you engage with it? Remember, it's use, application, baby. That's where it's at. So with that, make sure you have your goal card with you. And then also make sure that you have a copy of what we've been studying. And we've been diving into this masterpiece, the Master Key System by Charles Haanel. If you don't have this exact copy, you can get it on Amazon. It is a good idea, by the way, to have this exact copy so you can follow along with us as we're going through it. And then also make sure that you are marking it up, okay? Don't leave it blank. Get a highlighter pen, take notes. That will help you to internalize it. It'll help to make it so that the information is moving. Remember, life is not static, life is dynamic. Information itself is not power, it's potential power. The only way that this knowledge becomes power is when it's dynamics, when it's moving in you. And through that movement will be the externalization on the outside, solely based from what's been changed on the inside. Remember, your outer world is a reflection of what's happening in your inner world. Your inner world's a world of thought. And that's what we love to help people to get here at Ella Vitality. And we're wanting you to get that for you as well. All right, so let's go into this. But before we go into this, I want to also remind you to make sure that you're in our community. The community is amazing. The Ella Vitality community, it's a central portal where we do communicate everything. And what's beautiful is this is just one place where you don't have to log into a different place to get the information or go into your programs. And what I want to do is I want to share with you what that looks like really quick so that you can use it yourself. So take a look at this, okay? Because this is really super, super cool, okay? And I'll go ahead and put this here on the screen for you so that you can engage with it. And here it is. And here is the Ella Vitality community. And what I want you to really look at and engage with is how it's all centralized. On the right side, you see all the meetings that are there. And by the way, for all of you that are here, when you go into the community, just click on the Master Your Mind study calls. And then if you'll scroll down, and then if you will click on that you're going to attend it, it'll be a lot easier for you as you because you'll be notified. So you click on it and then you click on the button that says you're going, and then from there you'll get notified. Now, with that being said, if you look on the left side here, if you scroll down, it'll show all the programs. And if you are subscribed to the program, you don't have to log out. You're here. You just click on, for instance, Master Your Mind, and there it is. It shows up everything right there. If you're with us in Thinking into Results, which is the implementation way of us helping you to use this information, and if you're in Thinking Results, you just click on that and that will show up as well for you to access it. The point being is that it's a beautiful centralized community. And at the bottom, there's called the gathering space where you can post. There's a place where you can ask questions and post them here. And then there's also the accountability section, of which you're all invited to go ahead and post your affirmations as you write them down. It's a beautiful place to be. And again, it's centralized and it's there for you to basically use. Oops, sorry. So, anyways, music is playing there. Sorry about that. So here, let's go into where we are in the book now. Okay, let's go here into the master key system with where we left off. All right. Now we're on page 239, and yes, we went over this before, but we're going to go over it again because of the importance of it, okay? And it's tied into what you're giving attention to. Remember, you're never going to be able to get what you want if you're focusing from what you don't want. Things are not brought into existence by thinking of their opposites. Now here, again, you have your goal. Now here, though, he's pointing out it follows that you deny unsatisfactory conditions. And he's talking about how important it is for you not to give life, or I should say more life, to what you don't want. And when you do that, you are withdrawing the creative power of your thought from these conditions. You are cutting them away at the root. You are sapping their vitality. You're getting rid of it. This is why it's so important for you to not talk about your problems unless you want more of that problem. Do you want more of the same problems that you have? You don't, right? You go like this. You don't. You want big change, don't you? Well, I can tie in the fun example that I share with you, which is really simple, of which you know the answer to. Will you be able to be happy most of the time if you're constantly thinking sad thoughts? The answer is no. Well, it goes the same for prosperity and for abundance, success. Will you be able to live a prosperous, successful, abundant life if your mind is saturated with lack, limitation? I can't afford it. It costs too much. What's the answer? No. So you've got to rid yourself of that thought process. You've got to rid yourself of the habit of thinking from what you don't want, of giving life to what you don't want, and instead give life to how you would love things to be. Remember what Charles Haanel shared when he was talking about the law of attraction, how the law of attraction is dependent on the law of vibration, which is dependent on the law of love. And guess who gets to decide what you're going to love, which ideas you're going to love, the version of you that you're going to agree with. Let's all do the Blake Shelton thing, okay? Yeah. I have to look at me. I'm the one that's responsible for what's happening in my mind. And yes, you are the one that's responsible for what's happening in your mind. Whatever you give attention to is what you're giving life to. And again, guess who gets to choose that in your life? It's you. It's always going to be you. Now let's go further. Remember that the law of growth necessarily governs every manifestation in the objective, in the outer world, so that the denial of unsatisfactory conditions will not bring about instant change. Remember, there's a law of gender that's applicable here. What's the law of gender? Well, it's seed, plant, blossom, fruit. When you plant a seed in the soil of the ground, let's say you plant an avocado seed, what's going to come out? An avocado, provided it's nourished and it's allowed to grow. With that being said, there is a timeline that is there of which has to take place before the avocado tree can bear the avocado fruit. The point being is that it produces after its own kind and that there is that gestation period. Well, it's the same way when it comes to you for this. Your job is to sow. Don't concern yourself with the reaping. Just continue to nourish and trust in the fourfold order of the universe, which is a principle, which is seed, plant, blossom, fruit. Write that around this: seed, plant, blossom, fruit. A plant will remain visible for some time after its roots have been cut, but it will gradually fade away and will eventually disappear. So the withdrawal of your thought from the contemplation of unsatisfactory conditions will gradually but surely terminate these conditions. Remember, whatever you give attention to is what you're giving life to, whether positive or negative. And again, full circle, guess who gets to decide that for you? Okay, again, do this. To this point to yourself. Me. The solution is in you. And what's beautiful with that is you have all the tools. Here we're talking about dissatisfaction, that eternal dissatisfaction that you have inside of you, which leads to change. If it wasn't for dissatisfaction, everything would be the same. You wouldn't be seeing advances in everything if it weren't for dissatisfaction. And with that, you have that magnificent superpower of agency, which is your ability to act or be acted upon, and ability to accept or reject ideas. And then within that intellectual part of your mind, those wonderful higher mental faculties, your imagination, perception, reason, will, memory, intuition, all of which are there for a purpose. They're not there for no reason. And when you dissect and look at the purpose for all of those, you're going to see that the purpose is to create. See, that's you, you're a creative being. You get to imagine whatever you want. You get to focus from whatever you want. If you want to dive deeper into understanding that, oh my gosh, get this masterpiece. This right here is what I wish was shared with me when I first started, the way that it's being shared. It's such a simple, simple read. And best of all, it's broken down to be something that you can consume and use easily. So cut off your focus from thinking about what's unsatisfactory and instead give your life to how you would love things to be. And understand that when you do that, you're cutting it off. You're cutting off the roots. But with that being said, understand that it's not fully dead yet, but it will be through time. Now, you will see that this is an exactly opposite course from the one which we would naturally be inclined to adopt. It will therefore have an exact opposite effect to the one usually secured. Most persons concentrate intently upon unsatisfactory condition, thereby giving the condition, pay attention to this, thereby giving the condition that measure of energy and vitality which is necessary in order to supply a vigorous growth. Most people live their lives focusing from what they don't want. And then the next thing you know is that's all that's happening in their life. And you see it, don't you? You know what I'm talking about. The complainers, the whiners, who are, by the way, doing that and they don't even know they're doing it. Why? Because it's a habit. With that being said, you don't have to continue with it if you've been engaging with that. So if you think of it from another way, when you stop focusing on negative situations, you stop giving them life, you stop giving them energy, you're essentially cutting them off from the root, removing their source of power, and then from there, you can give life to what you would love instead. But see, that's not what most people do. That's not how most people think. But see, you're here, which means you're not like most people, which is really great. The point being is don't follow the masses. Break the cycle of thinking more of the same, and then from there you'll receive change. Now let's go further. Part 14. The universal energy in which all motion, light, heat, and color have their origin does not partake of the limitation of the many effects of which it is the cause, but it is the supreme overall. The universal substance is the source of all power, wisdom, and intelligence. Underline that part. The universal substance is the source of all power, wisdom, and intelligence. This is what Wallace Wattles refers to as thinking substance, which permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner spaces of the universe, of which is intelligent, of which is moldable. Think about it. All energy, light sources, sound, heat, color, all emanate, they come from a single universal source. And what's beautiful about it is there's no limit in it. The source is not limited by the things it creates. Absorb that for a moment. The source is not limited by the things it creates. It's above and beyond them. And it's everywhere. It's omnipresent. And you have access to it. Now, what's beautiful is when you recognize this intelligence, of which you are a part of the intelligence. Remember, you're a part of it. You are literally in and part of the one, which is really cool about the circle of the one, which was, oh my gosh, beautiful project, beautiful stories. But when you recognize this intelligence that's there, of which you can shape and mold, and of which will respond to whatever's been shaped by you, you'll have harmony in your life. But see, this is where the application comes into play. It's one thing to know, okay, wait, there is that thinking substance that's there, that I'm the sculptor and that the clay is that thinking substance that I can shape it. It's one thing to know that, but it's another thing to actually engage with it. But see, you can do that, and it can be something that's normal in you provided you practice it. This is really important for you to get. The universal substance is the source of all power, wisdom, and intelligence. Now, to recognize this intelligence, he says, is to acquaint yourself with the knowing quality of mind, and through it to move upon the universal substance and to bring it into harmonious relations in your affairs. Now, what does that mean? That sounds like beautiful poetry, but what does it mean? Let's go over it again. To recognize this intelligence, which is there, which you are a part of, is to acquaint yourself with, introduce yourself to, become familiar with the knowing quality of mind. Now, this is important because there's beliefs and then there's this knowing. You can only believe in what you do not know. But in terms of the universal mind, there's an infinite, powerful knowing, it's certainty. But to recognize it, to acquaint yourself with that, and through it move upon it, in other words, engage with it, that universal substance, it will in turn bring into your life harmonious relations with everything. Now, again, how does that apply though with your life? Well, it applies to everything. Why? Because thought externalizes itself. Remember, everything that you look in the outer world was first an image before it became the material thing. It was created by the universe. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. And in terms of the universe of which you are a part of, you have in you imagination, which is the starting point of all creation, of which you can access and shape and mold however you want to shape and mold it. But now, again,